So now we have a file that's been generated for us containing the information about the heap, but in order to be able to look at that file and to understand what is in it, we need another tool. There's a few different tools you can use to analyze the heap, but the one that I think most people use is this one, which is the Eclipse Memory Analyzer tool, or MAT for short. You can download this tool from the website I've got on screen here, which is eclipse.org/MAT. So when you get to this page, just click on the download button up here and choose the version for your particular operating system. That is going to download a zip file, and all you need to do is to unzip that file. There's no installation needed for this tool because it is just a Java application. So I've done that. I've unzipped the file that was downloaded, and to start the Memory Analyzer tool, we just need to click on the icon called Memory Analyzer. So I'm going to set that running. It will take a moment just to start up. And that has started now. So I'll just close the overview window. All we need to do in here is click on the File menu, open heap dump, and choose the file that was saved. Just before I do that, you'll notice that there is an acquire heap dump option. If I click on that, what you should see here is a list of any of the locally running Java processes that we can connect to be able to get a heap dump from a live running process. So that's the other way to be able to get a heap dump from our applications. I think my application must have crashed now because it's not showing there. So we won't do that, but instead we'll go and open the heap dump. And to locate it, I'm going to jump back to the JVisual VM window and copy this file location. And hopefully we can paste that in here. And it will take a moment or two for Eclipse to work through that file, so we'll give that a moment. And that's now happened, and Eclipse is giving us an option for what we actually want to see. And there are really two options here, what are called a leak suspects report, and it tells us that this is going to tell us what objects are kept alive on the heap and why they've not been garbage collected. The alternative is a component report, which tells us, as you can see, things like if there were duplicate strings, empty collections, other things like that, which are not that interesting to us. Certainly for the purposes of what we're learning about, we certainly want the leak suspects report. So we'll click on finish with that selected, and I'll just make this window a bit bigger. And now we'll have a look at what this is telling us. The pie chart here is saying that Eclipse Memory Analyzer tool suspects there is a problem. There is an object on the heap which is taking up 37.5 megabytes, and everything else on the heap is just 1.1 megabyte. So that certainly looks like what Eclipse think is a suspected memory leak, or a leak suspect in their terminology. And if we scroll down, we can see here the problem suspect 1 is an object called Customer Manager. If I click on Details, we get a bit more information here. The information is provided in two different tables that are really showing us the same thing. If we look at the top one, and I find it easiest to start at the bottom and work up here, it tells us that there's a generate customer task that just has 16 bytes of memory. There's a thread here with 216 bytes, a process customer task with 16 bytes, nothing to worry about. And then we get an object called customers, which is of type customer manager, and it's using up almost all of that heap. That's the retained heap. It's the amount of heap that could not be garbage collected. And we can break that down. It tells us that there is an array list within that, and that's using all of that space. And there's an object there which is similar. Well, it's really the array list that is the problem. The second table I think is easiest to read the other way around. That's telling us that in the Customer Manager class there is an array list, and the array list is containing an object. Actually, that's probably the underlying array that is used for the array list, and that object is containing all of these different customer objects. So we can see here clearly that what we've got is an array list containing lots of customer objects, and that doesn't sound very good. So hopefully that gives us a clue as to why this application has run out of memory. What the memory analyzer has told us is that our heap has been taken up by all of these different objects, but clearly there is an array list that's using a huge amount of retained heap. We know the array list is within the Customer Manager class, so that allows us to go back to our application to find the problem and hopefully fix it. We now know that there's a particular array list which is growing out of control, and that clearly shouldn't be happening. So I hope that that is something that's very useful for you to know about in your own applications. This is a useful tool. And if you are having problems where the garbage collector is not able to work, it's not able to free up enough memory so that your application is crashing with an out of memory error, you now have a couple of tools that you can use to try and find and hopefully fix the cause. We'll now carry on learning a bit more of depth about how garbage collection really works.